I wanted to watch this segment with Kyle Kulinski talking about the Young Turks right wing pivot. It's really sad that it feels like all of the leftists that used to associate with the Young Turks have all basically agreed that like they've been making a weird right wing pivot, but they just keep doing it. So let's go.
Subject of independent media, I'm dying to know your thoughts on TYT and Kasparian. So I'm not going to put you in a place where you have to attack them. But from my perspective, I feel like it's sad to see this because we've all been in the space for a while and we've seen this 100 times. Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore, what's his name, Russell Brand, where little by little you start to you pick one or two issues and then you start buddying up with the right. And I see this with TYT and Anna Kasparian, and I'm curious what your thoughts on that are.
Before I answer that, I'm curious your thoughts on, do you think it's gonna go fully in that direction? Like, do you think it's genuinely gonna end up like a Jimmy Dore or a Dave?
I missed this. Can you give me a TLDR? Basically, Anna and Jenk, Anna especially, has gone very like anti-homelessness and I'm like, dude, based, yeah, stopping homelessness, ending homelessness, yeah. You mean like with policies like housing first, right? Except she just wants to put them all in jail. Yeah. And then after, people criticized her for that, and then people also criticized her for the birthing person meme, where she was like, I was treated with discrimination and I was humiliated. Someone called me a birthing person, and it was very humiliating. And a lot of people, trans people included, were like, actually, this is just a medical term. And also, you can just tell people not to say it. And also, like, it's really just to help designate this and this. And it's a useful term in these ways, and blah, blah, blah. Did you see Connor Eats Pants making fun of Jenk to Hazan when they were playing Marvel Rivals? No, I didn't see that. If you can link it, Usarian. So yeah, you don't understand, that guy that's experiencing a mental health episode in the street wants to be homeless. They can't be helped. We have to arrest them. Yeah. 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 So after that, Anna went on like quite a few right-wing shows, or like libertarian shows, or centrist or classical liberal shows, and was like, I guess you could say I'm leaving the left. I guess you could say I'm leaving the left. The left is just really mean, and I don't know, I was talking to some right wingers and they were really nice to me. And it's really sad. Of course he's playing Venom. Look, Venom's fucking shoulders are so wide you can't even see his fucking head. Of course.
Fuck am I?
Who did the best right wing pivot this year after their career fell apart?
The best one? Yeah.
Your uncle.
No, that's true. That's not even fake. Too real, dude. That's messed up.
Fuck.
Anyways.
Dave Rubin?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
If you asked me this a year ago, I'd say probably not. I was in that position where you were in, probably with like Joe Rogan, where it's like, no, I think that you should try to reach these people. I think that maybe there's just a genuine agreement. But to me, with time, it's become apparent that like both Jenk and Anna, they just don't want to listen to good faith criticism. And you know, we all kind of like talked about this in different ways, like on Leftist Mafia, for example. Um, and what really struck me is how, they just disregarded the arguments that we made. It was not in bad faith, even though they don't want to, acknowledge that. It wasn't in bad faith, but they said it was in bad faith. And for me, I think that moment that really like clicked with me, like, no, it's over, was when they went after Emma Vigeland, because Emma Vigeland, they know her more than they know us. I was part of TYT Network. You were part of TYT Network, but we didn't have that close relationship. I never was at TYT Studio. I think you were only there a couple of times. So, like, there was that degree of separation between us. But just to see them disregard the criticisms of the left. I mean, we all criticize.
Yeah. Why does Kyle look like he's gonna sell me Coke? Whoa. No. Kyle absolutely wants to take you to Flavortown, okay? He looks like he wants to take me to Flavortown. And yeah, Emma and Anna were actually friends. Well, yeah, I think that there's also like a mutual respect. I'm only going to speak for myself, but I think there's a bit of a mutual respect for me with any women in this like political landscape that choose to talk about issues they want to talk about. Because especially if you want to be taken seriously, because I was like, I'm good. I don't need to be taken seriously. I'm here to fucking shoot the shit. I'm here to make some memes. I'm here to have a good time and also cover some news. But I think for Emma Vigeland and for Anne Experian, they do want to be taken seriously. They want to be taken very seriously, which I think is very respectable. And I mean, I had a lot of respect for, and I still have a lot of respect for Emma, but Anne Experian, she just keeps pivoting. And I think like the end goal is to become like, I almost want to say their end goal is to become Tim Pool. That there's a lot of money to be made doing what Tim Pool does, and you don't even have to be very smart to do it.
Each other. You and I have had debates like in DMs on Twitter about fucking specific healthcare bills and shit like that. But we never I never thought, oh, Kyle's a fucking grifter. And I don't think you thought the same about me. It was just disagreements that we were hashing out. And even like I said something about Wolfpack on my show, and Jenk had reached out to me privately and said, hey, the people at Wolfpack think that you got this wrong. And so I'm like, oh shit, I don't remember what it was in particular, but I brought on one of the directors of Wolfpack on my show to correct the record and talk about Wolfpack. And it's like, it's one of those things where we're all going to eat shit. You know, we're human beings. We don't have massive, production crews. We kind of just get on camera and we say what we think. And so there are going to be times where we trip on our own dicks. So we have to eat shit sometimes. And our peers are the best people to hold us accountable. Like if some random YouTube comment says, hey, Mike, fuck you. You said this. You're a terrible, terrible person. I'm going to disregard that. But if Kyle reaches out to me and says, hey, Mike, I think that you really messed up here, that's when I'm going to think, oh, okay, well, if Kyle's saying this, he's been doing this for a long time. I respect him. He respects me. So that to me is.
And that's the other thing for me. Like when Anna Kasparian was doing her crash out, I think on her Twitter, like the most liked replies to her birthing person Twitter were very polite. Almost too good faith. They were like, hey, I know you didn't mean anything by this. I know you are not a transphobe. I would ignore what everyone else is saying. They're speaking from a place of hurt. Personally, we enjoy using the word birthing person because of this and this. And if you want more information, here's these resources. And if you ever want clarification or you need something like this, just like my DMs are open. I'm always happy to talk about my experiences, blah, 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 blah. There were a lot of people replying like that. If you exist on the left, you can say anything and someone's going to scream at you. Okay. I suggested punishments for aimbotting, and I had many people mad at me, and they were like, actually, communism is when there's no punishment for any crimes ever. Actually, communism is when nothing is illegal and you can do whatever you want, okay? That's actually how that works. So literally, you exist on the left. There's always going to be people that scream at you. There's always going to be people that have no interest in having a good conversation with you. There's always going to be people who will treat you with bad faith. Regardless of what you talk about, right? Regardless. Nice straw, man. Did you download aimbot? Do you aimbot? We do aimbotting. Come on, bro. Learn to take a joke. I have to take them every single day. There are people constantly making jokes at my expense and making me look like a gullible idiot, okay? You also have to do it if you end up in this chat, okay? Goon locked? Question mark? Anyways, moving on. If you exist on the left, if you make any statements as you exist on the left, people will criticize you. People absolutely will criticize you. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point, probably every single large leftist creator has been called transphobic at least once. At least once. Even the most, I mean, I've even seen trans people get called transphobic. It just kind of comes with the territory that if you exist on the left, there's a little bit more purity culture that happens on the left because people want the space to be perfect. And there is like a healthy amount of purity, but like there's a healthy amount of like purity culture where you should hold people accountable. But I think sometimes the left goes wrong when people aren't perfect now. You're also dealing with a lot of people that are terminally online. 100%, yeah. But like, grow up. Like, oh, Blair White is trans and actually transphobic. Well, no, I mean, Blair White is actually transphobic. I mean, she's a right winger who thinks that like trans people should detransition. Obviously, that's someone who's transphobic. I'm talking about leftist creators who are trans, who I've seen leftist trans creators talk about how say that their personal opinion is that they don't think that it is inherently transphobic to have
watching my President Jenk.
genital preferences, and I've seen those trans creators get called transphobic. Like it's like, oh, because there are constantly people that will attack you that you're never going to be perfect enough for the most perfect leftist online that has never left their house, has never attempted to engage with anything in a reasonable way, because there's a conversation you can have about like transphobia that is normalized and that there are people who have used things to justify transphobia. So like there are people who will use genital preference as a defense for the trans panic defense. It's like, well, okay, well that's obviously transphobic, right? Because you can prefer whatever you want to prefer, but that doesn't mean you suddenly get to kill people. Moving on. If you exist on the left, there's always gonna be people that criticize you, and there's always gonna be people that criticize you in a way that isn't productive. But there's also, I feel like, enough people that will do it in a way that is productive that like if you're getting that offended, you're just not a real leftist anyways. Yeah, like the super straight stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously transphobic.
Why I think TYT might actually just be straight up gone. Because they've tuned out all of the people that were closest to them, that respected them, that they respected, and now it's just right wingers, Glenn Beck, PBD, and it's not a bad thing to go on these shows at all. You know, going on Temple and whatnot, but it's what you do when you're on these shows, right? Like you were on PBD and you criticized them, you challenged them.
Yeah, the whole thing
Whereas
was a debate. Yeah, the whole thing was a debate.
the entire
Yeah.
fucking thing was a debate.
Mhm.
And this was the same criticism that we had with Jimmy Dore when he started going on Tucker Carlson. Like, I don't care that you go on Tucker Carlson. I'm not trying to like police where you go. You're a grown man. But if I were on Tucker Carlson, I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm going to criticize him for the white supremacy that he's espousing. And I don't see that. I see them going on these shows, attacking the left. And to me, it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe 5 years ago, I would still be more charitable. A year ago, I'd be more charitable. But I feel like we've seen this show so many times. It's a rerun. And I actually think they're less subtle. Like, I think Anna is less subtle than Dave Rubin's grift at this point in time.
It's almost like they had kind of the opposite reaction as me. So like in 2016, it looked to me like they were fully in resistance mode, where it was like,
Yeah.
man, we're going to fight on everything. We're going to fight tooth and nail on everything. Fuck Trump in every imaginable way. Even to the point where, you know, there were some areas where I disagree with them on like Russiagate type stuff. I was like,
Yeah, same.
I don't agree with these particular criticisms that they're making, but it seemed like they were in full on resistance mode, and they maintained that all the way up seemingly until recently. And then the mindset, so in the same way as like I was trying to like find bridges or areas of agreement from 2016 on, And then eventually I realized, shit, this didn't work. And I flipped, and now I'm being super aggressive and I'm the one that's resisting. And for them, it was resist, resist, resist. And then just recently, it's almost like they just got tired of doing the we're in the resistance, we're going to fight everything. And now you hear Cenk's big thing is like, we got to unite the populist right and the populist left. And here's this area and that area where we can agree. But what I would say to Cenk in reaction to that is, it's not like they're completely and utterly full of shit. Every single one of them. That's even and God bless Bernie. I love him. I don't think Bernie's a sellout by any stretch of the imagination, but his strategy on this has been like, I agree with Trump that we should cap credit card interest rates at 10%. And I agree with Elon Musk and Doge that we need to cut the Pentagon. And he's putting that out there. But here's the thing, Bernie. They're not going to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. They're not going to cut the Pentagon. And then when they don't do those things, all of those MAGA accounts are going to pretend like they never supported capping credit card interest rates at 10%. They're going to say they never supported cutting the Pentagon, and they're going to go wherever Trump wants them to go, because MAGA is effectively a cult. And so what I would say to Bernie is, I know where your heart is. I know you're trying to do what you think is the right thing and get them in a gotcha and hypocrisy burn them and say, see, they were lying, etc. But they're immune to the hypocrisy burns. And so the real strategy is to upfront say, look, these people are full of shit. They're full of shit. They don't mean a goddamn word of what they say. And I will put in the same category, I'd put, the PBDs of the world and the Tim Pools of the world and the Joe Rogans of the world. Like, what do you think Rogan, like when Trump starts doing objectively horrible shit, do you think Rogan is going to be on his show like, man, I really disagree with this? Like he did back in the day. Remember when they're like the child separation policy
Ozempic Guy Fieri's making a strong point. Stop.
was happening, and Rogan had on Duncan Trussell, and he went on like a pro-immigrant rant where he was saying, yeah. And do you think that's going to happen this time around? No. He endorsed the guy who said he wants to do a mass deportation. And if Trump does do a mass deportation, Rogan's either going to say nothing about it or just defend it. Right. And so I think that's the point, is like, as we've been saying, there are way more allies who are liberals or who are just independents than there are the populist right. I'm of the belief at this point, the populist right is fake. It's not real. They will flip on a dime to go where Trump wants them to go. And by the way, I know I'm right about this because, again, we have the first four.
Less subtle than Dave Rubin is a self-inflicted death sentence to someone's fundamental sense of decorum and professionalism. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think the Young Turks, they really desperately want to get the liberal audience. I think that they see that, and I can kind of get it. I can get it a little bit. Like, I'm trying to think. I think if you feel like the left is, for whatever reason, okay, like whether it's your fault or the left's fault, if you feel like the recent positions from the left are not ones that you agree with anymore, I think the only reasonable place to go at that point is center right. But I feel like that's not necessary. Like, I can have disagreements with people on the left, and I could be like, no, I think this is a better way to solve this problem. Or no, I think this is a better way to solve this problem. And we can disagree. The reality is there are more important issues than like these minuscule details, and we agree on the stuff that matters, right? I'm trying to think of like a good example on like an issue that maybe the left is pretty divided on. Probably like, no, not gun rights. I would say actually the left is pretty divided on like, it feels like to me, the left is pretty divided on trans people in sports. Not on the internet, okay, to be very clear, all right? Not on the internet. On, like, in real life. Okay, because the internet is a different place. Where I feel like half of the people that I've met that are on the left in the real world are like, no, we shouldn't. And they don't know anything about it, but they've conceded the ground immediately because they just don't want to fight that fight. Or they have some preconceived notions about what that looks like. And then the other half, I think, are like, no, there's no data to back up a lot of these claims. And after being on hormones for enough time, you lose these advantages and blah, 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 right? But the way I see it is that leftist is someone that agrees with me on like housing first. There's someone that agrees with me on like taxing billionaires at incredibly high rates. There's someone that agrees with me on the fact that people should have access to food and clean water, regardless of their wealth, that they should have stable housing, regardless of their wealth, that we should have less policing on things like shoplifting, right? Or nonviolent offenses. That the fact that we even have any policing on some of these things is like disgusting, right? We agree on so many things that matter that when I run into leftists who I have disagreements with them on certain things, I don't really get up in arms because I'm like, honestly, I feel like maybe I can move you. And even if I can't, we agree on so many important things. Let's get the stuff that really matters. Like for example, trans people just being able to get safe, affordable healthcare. Let's get that. Let's get that. We agree on that. Great. We can have this fucking sports discussion next. But we agree on that. Let's get trans people basic rights, basic humanity. And then maybe we can move towards this sports conversation. We can dip into the literature and the science on this. Okay, let's do that. Whereas it feels like there are other people on the left who, once they find any disagreements, like in a Kasparian, they just start like crashing out, I guess. And then they recognize that there's more money to be made on Tim Pool type of shows.
4 years. I mean, already Trump has axed Lena Khan. Lena Khan was like the example of, oh, if they mean this and they're actually going to be populist, they will keep Lena Khan at the FTC. And they said, oh, J.D. Vance had said some kind words about Lena Khan. Maybe Trump will keep Lena Khan. And then we learned just last week, he's not keeping her. He's replacing Lena Khan with somebody who says, I want to stop the FTC's war on big business. So how many times do they have to fail this test before we call it for what it is? J.D. Vance pretends like he's a populist. He's not even in favor of raising the minimum wage. He dodged a question on that during the campaign. He's not even in favor of the PRO Act. He said he supports the $6,000 child tax credit, and he didn't show up for the vote on the $6,000 child tax credit, right? So it's just, I'm hoping, like I think a lot of people are, for just when something really bad happens, I'm hoping that there's some sort of an about face, right? And that TYT goes, hey, they didn't do the thing that I thought they might do, so now I'm on the warpath against them too. So I hope that that's the case. But we'll just have to see if that's the case. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to hold my breath on that because I am notoriously a horrible judge of character on these things, as we already just went through. Like we just discussed the Rogan thing. I gave him credit for way too long. For Jimmy Dore, I gave him credit for way too long. For all these people. But what I would say is this: I really hope that that Cenk or Anna or both, they talk to Sam Cedar or they talk to
I would love that.
John Idarola and Francesca Fiorentini, because it really does. They seem to think, as you sort of pointed out, that anybody who disagrees with them on certain issues, it truly is just a grifter and they're a liar. And, whether it's crime issues or trans issues, they seem to think like everybody who's on the left genuinely loves crime, right? This is something I've heard from them. So it's like, I want them to talk to somebody who can rep that counter argument, who they respect enough to give them the space to make the argument, right? And I don't know if they'll do that. I'd be willing to have the conversation with them.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I would have no problem having that conversation with them.
Calling Sam Cedar a grifter was insane. Yeah. Cenk literally called Sam Cedar a grifter. Yeah. Which is crazy because, like, if you're ever at the point where you're calling someone who is a full-blown leftist a grifter, like, you've completely lost the plot. There is not money to be made on the left. You don't get fucking ad money. You don't get fucking general corpo support. You don't get like the the what you actually end up getting on the left is accusations of being pro-terrorist, pro-violence, pro-stochastic terrorism, pro no one working anymore, pro-crime. That's what happens. That's actually what happens.
But
because the bridge is burnt for a lot of folks. Like it's burnt between myself and them. But I mean, like, at least they could speak to Francesca or John or you. Because like if you think that we're bad faith, that's fine. Because I've taken the gloves off. Like I'm kind of past the whole maybe we can save them. I can fix them. I don't believe that. But for the people who are still on good terms with him, I think that the fact that he's not having that conversation, and Francesca actually just said, I was watching the Vanguard, and they're playing a clip of Francesca where she tried to have a conversation between them and John, and Jen denied it. So the fact that they're not doing that is so frustrating to me.
Well,
But
yeah, it's this
yeah.
idea. Oh, this is what Jenk's been going around saying now. Like, when we disagree, let's disagree, and then let's like go have a beer after, and then where we agree, let's unite. This is like his big thing that he's going around saying now, and it's like, look, I understand that, but it gets squirrely when you say that like PBD's an honest actor or Tim Pool's an honest actor. You could have a conversation with them, but you can't have a conversation with Sam Cedar, right?
Right.
So
That's what is
I mean, that
so
just seems,
frustrating to
and
me.
Cenk had Hassan. Cenk and Hassan did that thing on Thanksgiving, and I don't know. It just seemed like it was sort of like hitting a brick wall a little bit, right? Like it seems like there's an
Yeah.
impasse, and I think the point is like if all of your passion comes out and you get really like fiery and riled up, just when it's those little areas of disagreement with the left, I think
Mhm.
that's why a lot of people are like, I don't know if I like this, because
Yeah.
that sort of like fiery anger and passion where like you're really about it. In a moment like this, all of that anger really should be targeted at the right, who Trump just won the White House. They got the Senate, they got the House. This whole Doge thing is just literal billionaire robber barons who are going to loot the treasury and, cut your grandma's Social Security and Medicare. And it's like, we really do need to be harping away on this and going after these people, because it's about to get really ugly really, really quickly. And we really need both basically anybody who's anywhere left of center to unite and all be in unison and all hammer away. This was the brilliance of Fox News and the right-wing media sphere, is like, so they'll have their stories for the day or the week and their talking points, and like every outlet under the sun will repeat it till the cows come home, and then they drive the
Mhm.
narrative. They drive the entire political narrative in the country. And that's what the left is missing. That's what liberals and leftists are missing, is just in unison a media apparatus that's all harping away.
Well, you have to understand also that, like, there are a lot of people on the left that are on the left because they are contrarians. Okay, I will fucking say it. I'll do it. But there are a lot of annoying people on the left that are a big reason of why they're on the left is because they're annoying. Like, they were annoying before they became leftists, and then they realized that being a leftist would make them become new levels of annoying. Right? They were like, dude, I can achieve levels of just like insufferable that have never been reached before. Hold up. Not all leftists, okay? First of all, not all leftists, okay? I'm like a little bit, I feel this a little bit in me, where I'm like, someone says something preposterous, and I'm like, my first opinion or my first thought is not to be like, I'll just let it slide. I'm like, I'm sorry, wait, what did you say? So I'm that kind of annoying. I get it, right? I get it. But sometimes people just say things that just obviously, just like even without doing any research, seem untrue. Like when people say, yeah, we should just fucking arrest all the homeless people. It's like, what? Why? Well, to solve the problem of all the homeless people. And you're like, huh? How does it solve the problem? And I feel like even someone who doesn't know anything or any talking points or any data or any information on homelessness should be able to know that doesn't even make any sense. Like, wait, so you're going to take these people who don't have access to clean water, food, a home, or a job, and your solution is to put them in jail to make it even harder for them to get a job when they get out? This doesn't even make any sense. This is literally like, this is not a good long-term solution. This doesn't even seem like it'll work. What part of this is supposed to work? What's your solution as to homelessness? I mean, the solution that has been tested in how many cities? Tens of cities. Housing first. You dedicate a sum of money to giving people who are homeless housing. A few cities, for example, have taken old motels and bought the motel out. The state buys the motel and it uses it as a way to give housing to homeless people. It's obviously free of charge. And each of the homeless people ideally gets assigned a caseworker, and the caseworker helps them, get all of their documents in order, helps them, get any care that they need, if it's for any addictions that they have or any psychiatric issues that they might have. Basically just like someone to help them get them off their feet, helps them build a resume, helps get them cleaned up, helps give them a phone, a permanent address for things like job applications, and helps stabilize their life. And usually people end up having very short turnaround times. And the sooner you catch people, the faster it is for them to bounce back. So if you're able to put someone who's only been homeless for like a month, if you're able to put someone like that in a housing first situation, they'll bounce back really quickly. Unfortunately, the longer someone has been homeless, the harder and harder it becomes to help them, because usually it means that either their addiction has gotten worse or their mental health has gotten worse, or they've developed things like PTSD, because surprise, surprise, that's what being homeless will do to you. But even with people who've been homeless for a long time, housing first tends to work very well. That just having access to a door, a bedroom and a bathroom, food and water, just like the bare minimum food and water, electricity, a phone, and a semi-permanent address and one caseworker. It helps, and it is financially significantly better for the economy to do housing first, because all of the money that gets wasted on cop calls, that gets wasted on ambulance calls, that gets wasted on imprisoning homeless people, all of the fact that these are, let's talk about it from a capitalist sense, the fact that if you are homeless, you are currently not generating any GDP for your state, because you are not being a productive member of the workforce. All of this is very expensive. It's very, very expensive. Very incredibly expensive. You know what's not expensive? Putting them in a housing first situation for basically just like bare necessities and helping them get back on their feet. Also, to be clear, yeah, I'm not saying all homeless people are drug addicts at all. That is not. I hope no one took that as like my my reading by that at all. There are some people who are drug addicts that become homeless because of their addiction, and it's hard to tell on the data because we don't have good data on how many homeless drug addicts became addicted to drugs because of the situation of being homeless. What I can tell you for a fact, really quickly, is that if I became homeless, I'm currently not addicted to any drugs. Currently, I only just have a nice glass of wine as I'm driving because it calms the nerves. You know, you guys drink and drive, you understand. I'm currently not addicted to any drugs. I can tell you for a fact, if I became homeless, I would start doing drugs. I would be like, yeah, I am this close. It's time to do meth. Okay, it's time. I'm fine. I'm gonna try heroin. Obviously, hello. Like, it's not like my society gives a fuck about me. Might as well enjoy it while I'm fucking in the shits here. Right away. Right away. Like maybe a week max before I try meth. If not because the stress alone would need I would need something to distract me from it. Like, if I lost so much as to not have a home, drugs would be my last refuge. And I think that you are not allowed to judge people. I think you have no grounds to stand on to judge other people for becoming homeless and then becoming addicted to drugs unless you have been homeless. Unless you personally have been homeless and you manage to not get addicted to anything, you do not have the grounds to be like, well, maybe they should have thought about it. Maybe they should have thought about the fact that no one would help them if they did. No, no, no. If you really think that you could be homeless for potentially months or years sober, you're crazy. You're like, I have no words. I have nothing to share with you. And I think that your only thought when seeing someone who is addicted to drugs should be, we need to get more safe centers, more safe drug centers. And we need to put these people in actual rehabilitation, like actual rehab, not the fucking mental institution bullshit that we basically do. Like, these people should have actual resources allocated to them. Desperation breeds desperations. Humans aren't rocks. They need some relief. Yeah. So anyways, that's just to be very clear. I think that there's a difference between saying that this is something that happens. I don't know. I forget the exact percentage of homeless people that deal with drug addictions. I think there's a difference between saying that that is a fact and saying like, I couldn't give money to a homeless person. What if they just go spend it on alcohol? If I give money to a homeless person and they immediately go spend it on alcohol, fucking based. Fucking based. It's their money at that point. They spend it how they want to. And if what they need in that moment is some fucking jack, then you know what? They can go get the jack. And if I personally didn't want them to buy the alcohol, I will bring them what I wanted to bring them. Either, and that's how you know those people don't actually care, because they never offer to get like a sandwich for the person. They never offer to get like socks or like a toothbrush or like one of the, there are a lot of kits online if anyone is curious about things that homeless people need. People who have been previously homeless, they have talked about their experiences and the things that no one ever helps them with that aren't available at shelters and stuff. But they don't actually try any of those things. They don't actually try and make care packages. They just want to have the high ground and be like, I can't give this person $2. They're going to go spend it on alcohol. Like, I gave a dude in Chicago $20 and he said, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to go buy drugs with this. And I said exactly that. I said, it's your money now, dude. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Don't. Anyways, yeah. Anyways. Also, it's not like every homeless person can just walk to a bank and deposit the $5 that they were given. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's just so silly. Anyways, I don't know. I don't remember why I got off topic like this. That shit just makes me so irritated. I get so mad when people say that shit. I'm just like, housing first works. There's a lot of cities that have tried it. As far as funding goes, first of all, if we have enough money to send $3 trillion to Israel, we have enough money to help the homeless people in our fucking country. It also doesn't cost a lot to do these things. Like if you have a motel, if the state was to buy a motel, for example, the running cost of any one of those units is significantly cheaper than prison. Okay? And if that's still not enough for you, there are policies that I think have been enacted in Vancouver for vacancy taxes. Basically, if you own a certain number of properties, you pay a tax on every unit that is vacant. If a unit spends a certain amount of time vacant in the year, you pay a tax on that unit. I think it's like every month that one unit is vacant, you pay a tax on that unit. And it doesn't help it doesn't help solve the exacerbated problem of renting prices. Unfortunately, that's something that has to be legislated and decommodified. So it doesn't fix that, but it does generate like millions of dollars for the city. It generates a lot of revenue for the city, which that is revenue that very easily could be taken from Airbnb owners and put directly towards solving some part of the housing crisis. And by housing crisis, I mean homeless people don't have a place to sleep because rent is too expensive and houses are too expensive. So, anywho, makes me so angry. People complain about homeless people getting help, but say nothing about sending billions of dollars to Israel so they can commit Holocaust Part 2. Yeah. Invisible People's videos on Helsinki is a perfect thing to watch on if you want to understand housing first policy. Yeah. It's also just like I support policy that works. It's the reason why I don't support the Pornhub ID ban. It's not going to work. Exactly what we just watched is going to happen. It's like trying to, it's the equivalent. Okay, people feel really weird about giving their ID, so they're just not going to do it. Most people just feel so weird about that. They're not going to do it. So all you're doing is just like making people go through extra hoops, and they will do it. Right? They just will. Oh, hi, Crook and Corpse. Crazy thing is most homeless folk get something called a general relief each month, around $200 a month. So it's technically a loan that they have to pay back if they end up getting supplementary income. So it's just inadequate. Yeah. Wait, I wanted to. Yeah, this is the other thing. Like other countries, other cities and counties have solved the problem of people becoming homeless. It's very similar to healthcare. Other countries have been able to manage healthcare for all of their residents without any problems. There's nothing stopping us. There's nothing so unique about the United States that we can't do it. It's, oh my God, the worst is the neo-libs that are like, we can't have high-speed rail. The US is too big. Have you seen China, you fucking dipshit? You fucking shit for brains? You unlovable piece of fuck? Have you not seen China? You're so dumb. You're the dumbest motherfucker alive. It is not complicated to have a large swath of land, except instead of or in addition to the freeways that currently exist, you also have high-speed rail. And then within any of those cities, you have good transit in the city. People will take public transit if it is more convenient. It's very simple. Look at New York. I am telling you for a fact, there is a reason that there are a surprising number of rich people and politicians in New York and like CEOs and Wall Street bros in New York that take public transportation. It's faster. It is faster than taking a cab. Because in a cab, you just sit there in traffic for fucking 500 years. The subway will take you like 3 miles in like 2 minutes. Okay, a little longer because there's always one fuckhead that's like, I gotta get in the train right now. And then the announcer's like, please do not stop the train. You're causing delays. There's another train coming right after this one. Please stop. Please stop. Didn't you try to set a bounty on someone before? Whoa. You're thinking of someone else. You're thinking of somebody else. I would never try. I would succeed. Okay. All right. Just come on. I'm a winner. All right. Be real. Be fucking real for a second. Come on. Okay. This one. Yes. I've never seen this video.
The homeless crisis in our country has gone from bad to worse.
As the crisis deepens, so has the criminalization of homelessness.
Oh, wow. This is like less than a year ago.
RV after RV parked here because people have nowhere else to go.
New data shows that homelessness in the United States is at an all-time high.
But there's one country that has redefined how nations can tackle homelessness. Finland is one of the only countries in the world to significantly decrease homelessness. Invisible People traveled to Helsinki to investigate.
I was walking areas in the city. If it was America, you would have seen countless homeless people.
With the leaders who made it happen.
The worse the situation is, the more important it is that you at least start a change.
Citizens living in housing first units.
Is your life better now in housing?
I don't wanna lie, it's not.
And everything is better when I live here.
And the staff that supports them.
A person needs a home, so the other stuff can happen. You can never get so low that we will not be beside you.
Housing First comes from USA.
We changed the systems completely. We went all in with the Housing First.
And at the same time, this kind of camps disappeared.
In America, people don't want to give housing to homeless people. What would you say to them?
She would say that it saved her life and it will save others' lives too. And so that's why Housing First is so great, because otherwise she might be dead.
Oh, sorry. The captions are on. They're just too low.
How has her life changed in housing?
She doesn't use drugs anymore, and that's quite big.
Töitä.
Work.
Oma rytmi.
There's a rhythm in life.
Miten se sanotaan? Normaali elämä.
Normal life, which is what she wanted.
What's the favorite part of your apartment?
Sänky. Seuraava on keittiö.
Bed and the kitchen.
What is homelessness like in Finland?
Pahalta.
Very bad.
Pelottaa.
And it was very scary.
Sitten täällä on kylmät talvet.
Winters are cold.
Pitkiä.
And they are long.
Homeless as hell in Finland because you're real cold, real wet.
Not very nice. But where is it nice?
1990s, we still have 20,000 homeless people. And of course, at some point, there was a real struggle that there were many people sleeping on the streets. And you know, because the winters are really harsh here in Finland, they would also die on the streets. So I think that was a really the wake-up call that we need to do something and change the policies quite slowly. And then we get the rapid phase when we start the Housing First 2008.
That's when they went all in on Housing First. They renovated almost all of the shelters into Housing First buildings to give homeless people their own individual apartments. They also built more affordable housing across the country, and it seems to have paid off.
In 5 years, we both created the program and halved the long-term homelessness in Finland.
Homelessness in Finland has changed quite dramatically since 2008, for example, in the city of Helsinki, which is the capital city. You will not see tents, sleeping bags, or rough sleepers whatsoever. We want to end homelessness, or we want to end rough sleeping. I think, you know, some people would have laughed at us that, you know, that's not possible ever, but, you know, I think we have proved them wrong.
We spent days on our own in Helsinki looking for homeless people, and we couldn't find them. It was surreal. So are there really none left? Juha told us this isn't a visible phenomenon, so we needed to go inside to find them.
So welcome to our organization, No Fixed Abode. You entered to our day center, Vepa, where people who are sleeping rough, they can come here. And this is kind of living room. We serve every day a warm meal, mainly the peer support and also the professional guidance how to find apartment. The Housing First started in our organization, and we are still running the first Housing First unit, Sallikoti, here in Finland.
How does this connect with the city services?
Our functions are separated from the city services. We do lots of collaboration with the city. People who are doing the outreach work come here in regular basis and we share information and kind of like what is going on with people who are sleeping rough.
Onko kaikki ihan ok? Ei mitään hätää, ei tarvitse meidän takia nousta. Hello, I'm doing street work in streets of Helsinki. I want to invite you to see outreach work. So people who are walking their dogs and walking...
And like the craziest part when you talk to Americans about this shit, they're like, but I don't feel like they earned it. Dog. Those are people. Those are fucking people. Actually, I don't think you need to slave yourself all day and night to be able to afford housing. I think you should just be able to have housing if you live in the world's richest country. The thing is, it's like, dude, people like being productive. It literally causes your brain, at least some of it. Obviously, there's like genetic depression and there are other things that cause depression. But one big factor in depression or one big cause or catalyst is like not having anything to do. I can say this is true for myself. If I ever have the periods of time where I've had nothing, like not working, not going to school, I get incredibly depressed. People like having a schedule. People like to have things to look forward to. They like needing to go outside and interact. They like having a sense of purpose and feeling like they belong somewhere or that they're useful in some way. That's why there are people that can easily retire and they still keep working because they're just like, my job isn't physically intensive and I like going there. I'm like, that's why there's like the boomers that still work in offices despite them having like hella money, more than enough to retire. They're like, but I want to say hi to my coworkers and stuff. Like Congress, honestly, yeah. Honestly, at least part of it, yeah. I like being productive. I just hate capitalist work. Yeah. People just want to be treated with respect by their bosses and their coworkers. That's it. Because even like, maybe there's a handful of jobs that I'm sure if I tried really hard, I could think of that provide no satisfaction. But even like the worst jobs, even some of the shittiest jobs, you still like, there is still a sense of satisfaction, whether that's in your work and feeling like you contributed in some way in making maybe the world a little bit better, or even just like showing up and saying hi and hanging out with coworkers or whatever, right? Like there's things that you can look forward to. Capitalism inflicts selfishness, so they get mad when people who barely work get things that they couldn't get, so they lash out or think no one deserves them but them. It's so weird. Saw a homeless guy about my age with a dog crouching on the floor, freezing in front of a store. To me, that's a visualization of capitalism. Pukers. It's not like it wasn't their shelter. You just aren't allowed. Yeah. It's not like there wasn't shelter. You just aren't allowed. Yeah.
Around, if they find tents, they maybe make a call. Sometimes we find a new one, get informed for a new place. Yeah, it's really under a bridge. Of course, it's so different before 2010 because there was so much people rough sleeping in this kind of tent camps. 2010 and 2013 have built many new places, and same time this kind of camps disappeared.
Housing First is an idea where people have their own rental contracts and own homes, and they also get support in the housing. Earlier it was like that you had to kind of like earn to get a house. You had to like rehabilitate from abuse problems and things like that.
But the Finnish people let one important truth guide their policy.
It's kind of impossible to rehabilitate from the streets. So a person
needs a home. So the other stuff can happen after that. Everyone needs a home. We try to make sure that everyone gets that opportunity.
What?
And that's
Huh? What? What? Huh? You mean that it's not it's not easy to become not home it's not easy to get a job when you're homeless and don't have a phone or an address? What? Wait, what? Are you serious right now? No, that's woke for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
sounds incredible, but we wondered, how can Finland possibly keep up with the demand? Aren't more people falling into homelessness every day there, too? So we asked Finland's former housing minister, who spearheaded the entire project.
The housing market do not work perfectly. We need also to regulate part of the market, not the whole, not at all. And the way we have done it has been in Helsinki, that we have built affordable housing where both the federal state and the city subsidizes this construction actually quite a lot.
So this is one of our buildings, constructed by Y Foundation, Y-säätiö. It's meant for people with low income. We have built this one actually together with the Living Music Association, which means that there is certain parts of the apartments are reserved for low-income rock musicians. There is a rehearsal space for the musicians and those kind of things. So the city of Helsinki has decided that there has to be at least 25% affordable housing. So people with different backgrounds, different income levels, they share the same playgrounds and same services. And I'm really proud that the city of Helsinki has decided to do that.
So affordable housing is dedicated to reduce homelessness and give low-income people a chance to get a flat even in the cities. But then that is not the way you can tackle the severe homelessness, and there you need different kind of methods. We then had the housing first concept.
We are in a housing unit Pessi right now. Our tenants who live in this floor, they can make food together, and they also take care of the floor cleaning and such kind of things.
Just moved in. They come to my penthouse. That's my koti.
It's his home.
This is my home.
How long was he sleeping rough?
He left his step-parents when he was 15, and he was living in a hallway.
How long has he been in housing?
13 years.
13 years in housing. Is this his longest time in housing?
This 15 years is the longest period ever.
How has his life changed in housing?
No.
His life is more orderly right now because he doesn't use constantly drugs. He's doing substitute treatment for opioids.
Or how did you survive homelessness, especially in the cold?
He knows how to open doors without a key. He had some kind of like tool, so he knew how to go the hallway.
So he slept in doorways.
Some kind of tool.
In 1985, in the city of Helsinki, there was around 2,000 shelter beds, and now the number is 200. There is still rooms that you share with 2 or 3 different people and so on. If the solution for you is scattered housing or a housing first unit, you are not waiting in a shelter or on the streets. Then the time that you need to wait at apartment and support to come available.
Like, the most, I think, disgusting part about it is, like, you really don't need a lot of money to help someone have housing, clean food, and clean water. It's not that expensive. Like, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk alone could subsidize the costs of living. Or like if the state had like a program for housing first and they offered everybody housing and food and water. I'm pretty sure even if Elon Musk had to foot the bill for it, he wouldn't become any less richer. I'm pretty sure he'd still continue to be growing in wealth. But you don't understand. He still needs his He needs his 500th yacht, okay? He just needs Grimes to love him first, okay? He needs his hundreds of billions of dollars so that Grimes will finally love him.
DNMM.
She's gonna love him, okay? It's only a matter of time. Wasn't there an old program, or wasn't there a program trying to get old malls converted into living spaces? I'm pretty sure they did that. I didn't ever follow up with it, so I'm not sure how it played out. But like, you can use anything for housing. As long as there's a door and there's a restroom, like, you can use anything for housing. It's people need to have a place that they can go. That's theirs. Imagine living in a Hot Topic. Oh God, dude. Jesus. Teenage Me would have killed for that. This actually just came out 2 weeks ago on the malls. Wait, what? Did they actually? Oh, shit. They actually got an update on that? Wait.
So welcome to the teeny tiny shoebox apartment inside the arcade. There are lots of others in the building just like this. So mine is about 250 square feet.
Whoa.
There's a walkway right in front of the facade because this used to be a shop front. And so people had to access all of the shops in the building.
While malls across the U.S. are facing store closures and empty parking lots, some are finding a new life from an unlikely source. We are here at the Arcade Mall in Providence, Rhode Island, the oldest indoor shopping mall in the country. The arcade had long been a center point in Providence's bustling downtown, but like other malls, it fell on hard times and was completely vacant. But rather than letting this historic building fall into ruin,
I don't think it's Elon's job or any other millionaire/billionaire's job to take care of the poor. It should be the job of the government to ensure homeless people get a home. See, I would agree with you if he didn't take probably billions at this point in government subsidies that we paid for. And when I talk about Elon paying it, I mean through taxes. So we're on the same page already.
developers came in and decided to build 48 micro-lofts here on the second floor and up here on the third floor. While top-tier malls continue to be in high demand, nearly 34 million square feet of U.S. mall space is vacant and off the market. Almost 70% of Americans live within an hour of a mall that has a high vacancy rate, low consumer traffic, or is abandoned altogether. At the same time, the country is facing a massive housing deficit of 4.5 million homes.
There's a housing problem in a lot of markets across the U.S., right? This is an opportunity to find land and have a built-in customer base to get people into the mall.
Monday through Friday.
There's not, by the way. It's not. Don't. I'm not going to get into this, but the housing crisis is bullshit. We have how many millions of homes that are empty? Again, not going to get into it, but just know that that's horseshit.
This is really busy down here. It's definitely, you know, people in the offices working, getting lunch or whatever. My barber's downstairs.
As of January 2022, at least 192 U.S. malls plan to add a housing component. The U.S. has about 1,100 regional and super-regional malls, about 8.5% lower than 2015. So, can new housing developments help revive the classic American mall? And what's it like to live inside one? CNBC went to Providence, Rhode Island to find out.
Straight up, that would be such dope affordable housing. If it was like properly soundproofed. I love mixed use buildings. Oh my God.
Amy Hinion has been living on the top floor of a 3-story mall in Providence, Rhode Island for the past 2.5 years. What's it like to live at the mall?
It's really great. It's cool to be part of such a historic building and knowing that every single one of these units used to be a shop of some kind.
But living in a converted store does present some challenges.
Here is my very tiny kitchen. It is very small, but it is workable. And one of the interesting things about the units in the building is that because of codes, you can't have any cooking devices with an open flame. So none of the units have stoves or ranges.
Do you ever have any concerns about privacy?
No, not Not really. It's something you get used to living in the building, having people coming and going. Everybody has blinds in their
That's when you buy the electric stovetop easy.
apartment that they can raise or lower as they like.
That's when you buy an air. Honestly, I'm gonna be real. A really good air fryer, like a really good air fryer, and air fryers go on sale all the time at this point. But one of those air fryers that's basically, honestly, a mini convection oven, I think is what it's called, and a hot plate, or like an electric stove, or sorry, not electric stove top. I don't know if you would still call it a stove top, but you guys know what I'm talking about. One of those two, or sorry, both of these, you're good. You're an induction cooktop and an air fryer. Yes, you can cook anything you need. In fact, honestly, I don't know about you guys, I rarely use my oven. I basically never use my oven because it just takes forever to heat up. It heats up your whole apartment. Everything kind of smells a little bit like gas, even if you open the windows and you turn on the fucking vent. Like, I don't use it. I just don't use it. I literally don't use it. I use the stove since it's pretty convenient, but if I had an electric top, I would use that just as much. How do you make pizza? My air fryer, I bought it for like $60 and it's big enough to fit like the personal pizzas. And I never buy bigger than personal pizzas, so if I ever needed to make a big pizza, which I don't, then I would throw it in the oven.
Those challenges, residents say having access to shops and restaurants makes living at the arcade a unique experience.
I get my hair cut in the salon downstairs, and there's little lunch spots, so you don't even have to leave the building. There's a bookstore downstairs, and they'll do author talk.
Unironically, probably most of the people who are living here are getting more human connection than like the majority of Americans.
Talks in the private lounge area.
Avoiding New England's sometimes stormy weather is, of course, another perk.
If it's like pouring rain outside or if it's snowy, you just really can't be bothered to go out in the weather, you can still go downstairs and take advantage of those amenities.
And it's not just long-term renters that are attracted to the mall. Scott Sheehan is a real estate investor and rents out his apartment on Airbnb.
No!
Some of these business owners that are down on the first floor, how important is it to them?
God, give me strength. God, give me strength.
To kind of have a built-in customer base with these residents on the second and third floor.
I know a lot of folks are very loyal to, many of the bars, restaurants, clothing stores downstairs. So, the business folks downstairs definitely are interested in maintaining that relationship with the residents.
You definitely feel like you're...
Why so aggressive, chatter? Why would you want me to read your previous messages where you're being so rude? What the hell? That's not a positive thing, like at all, ... It's not going to be affordable. Are you high? No, I'm going to cry because you're being mean to me. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. All right? It's not very Sigma of you to be rude, to be bully like this. Kind of messed up, actually. It's kind of messed up.
You're part of the community more so than if you were just in a standard apartment building. It has been interesting with people trying to unlock my door, thinking that this is an Airbnb apartment. So sometimes you have to deal with the public more than you would in a regular home. But for me, that's a small compromise.
When a mall dies, communities lose more than just a shopping destination.
Let me check the most replayed section. I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about the guy who's like, I rent this unit out. Ugh. Let me just skip it.
Than something that might just be, in an isolated location.
Not only does it meet housing needs, but it also revitalizes the property by bringing in a new customer base that can boost on-site restaurants, gyms, and entertainment venues. While housing in malls sounds promising...
I thought that clip would be, it said most replayed, but then it was like a dog shit clip. Do I dare?
On a very low end, you'd be looking at maybe $200 a square foot to convert, where on the upper end, you might be looking more at like $800 or more per square foot to convert.
Despite those headwinds, malls across America just might have a second chance if they can truly become the housing hubs of the future.
The mall's becoming cool again. And so being able to live by it, work by it, play by it, go to restaurants by it, we're definitely seeing this as a trend.
Some people are confused and they'll say, like, why would you want to live in a space that's small? But for me, it's about having a reasonable apartment at a reasonable price that will force me out into the community and interacting with the people outside. The point,
like, straight up, this is my most leftist take, by the way. My most leftist take is Americans have been so brainwashed by thinking that, like, you're only living well if you're living in, like, a large house, that they don't understand the pleasures of, like, simpler living. That, like, actually, you don't need your own backyard that has, like, a playground and an entire barbecue range and, like, fucking somehow in half of Home Depot. You actually don't need that if you just have, like, a public park that you go to. It's actually not necessary. Or even, like, smaller things like, not everyone wants that, for real, yeah. Like a room. No. No, not like a room for crack. No.
Like a room for crack.
No. Oh, God. But, like, even gardens, right? Like, I understand the appeal of gardening. I understand the appeal of wanting your own garden. But you actually don't need your own personal land. You can have a community garden where everyone has their own, like, allotted, like, not planters. I don't know what they're called. Plots, thank you. You can have your allotted plots where you get to grow your own stuff and other people can grow their stuff, and it's a community garden. And the cool thing is, instead of you growing the one or two things, you can go to the community garden and talk to other people, see what they're growing, trade what you guys are growing with each other. Instead of just like, you don't understand, I need to do everything here. Or like a community, not quite a park, but like something similar to a park for like barbecuing stuff, right? Like everything that we have brought into our homes in America, there are so many things that we brought into our homes that shouldn't be in our homes, that should be community-based things. Because you and a lot of other people want to do this thing, and guess what? It used to be the case that you used to just do them together. This is my PCP plan suited. Recreation area. I don't know. They're all called parks out here. She's talking about crack. I love my community meth lab. Siv, thank you for the tier 1. My friend's mom has one. They grow so much. At least 4 of her friends' families can eat from it all summer long. It also doesn't bring up the fact that, like, or sorry, that's not even talking about the fact that, for example, fruit trees, they take a long time to mature. And when you have one, they make way too much food for one family. Anyone here who's ever known someone who's had like a fruit tree, a fully grown fruit tree that had like 2 decades to grow, it produces more fruit than anyone can eat. Like apple tree, orange tree, apricot tree, fucking fig tree, lemon tree, name it. It just produces too much fruit. Most of the time when I would see these fruit trees in my neighborhood, almost always when it was in season, people would just put out baskets filled with the fruit and be like, please take, we have too much. Like, how many apples can you fucking eat, dude? I had a lemon tree this year. We yielded like 40 lemons. We gave a bunch away. And I imagine that's not even like that big of a lemon tree, because I've seen lemon trees that are like pretty massive and they probably yield at least 100 lemons per season. At least. It's you can't keep up with it. Eventually they just start falling and rotting on the floor. Even if you have Even if you're like picking all of the apples and you're making apple pie and apple strudel and you're eating the apple fresh and you're making apple juice and it's just too much. Guess what? Having like a community garden solves that problem. Everyone can come participate and can take from this thing that normally one family could not consume all of it. Cans of pie filling. Yeah, even if you make 1 million fucking jars of jam, it's still, you can't. The other benefit, of course, with like having a community garden is like ideally you would test the soil so you know that the soil is super clean and not polluted. Whereas if you're growing it in your garden, you might have polluted soil in your garden. My neighbor just shows up with a bag of avocados when they're in season. It rules. That's dope as shit, dude. No, that's communism. Actually, it would be more efficient if we had markets, because then supply would meet demand. Oh, God. Also, it sucks because the guy who invented malls was a socialist and wanted to fix urban sprawl because his prototype had to make money to work in a capitalist society. They only built shops and no housing. Housing was supposed to come later, but he got no support. His dream finally coming true after 70 years. Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to live miles away from the nearest shopping center or coffee shop. Call me crazy. Call me a communist, but I think 15-minute cities are based, actually. Actually, I think it's based. I think going to your coffee shop in the morning and getting a little coffee is based. I think it's based, actually. Okay, Denims, but how am I supposed to feel safe around, people of color? You're so right. You're so right. Spoken like a true American. Amen. God. Maybe. What the Sigma? Anyways, it's almost like the USSR and Vienna had this figured out. Whoa, 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 whoa. Chill. Chill for a second there. You're getting a little crazy on me. Okay. Whoa. Mayor Cat. Mayor Cat, you have to say hi to stream. Body slam. It's over for him. He will never recover. All his bones broken. His muscles torn. He's gone, guys. Guys, look what I got. It's your friend. It's you. That's what you look like. That's you. Friend. Friend. He looks so soft. He's very soft. I have the softest cats, dude. Also, Majority Report, thank you for the raid. By the way, sorry, I got distracted. I was busy body slamming my cat. I'm gonna oh, big stretch, America. He looks so done. He's like, dude, man, can't I just steal your chair in peace? Can't I just fucking steal it in peace? Why you gotta body slam me? Unhand me. Me your cat. All right. Well, luckily, my co-host is finally here. No, I'm just kidding. Mayor Cat is finally here. You know what that means, chat? It means he needs my fucking love because I apparently guess I didn't give him enough this morning when I was trying to work out, even though he sits on me every time I try and do my bench press. He's like, oh, you're trying to bench press? The heaviest weight you've ever done? This is a good time to sit on you. This is the perfect time to sit on you. I will sit on your lap now. You're good. I can put pressure directly on your ribs with my paws and you got it. So, yes, Mayor Cat. Yes. Cat got your chair. Yes. Wow. Yes, body slam. Yeah, Mayor Cat. Yeah. No, he likes to nibble on my little fingers and then he likes to play. But he only likes to do it if my hand is covered. Once my hand is uncovered, he's like, but this is just your hand. Click, 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 click. And once it's in this, he's like, yeah, fucking time to beat the shit out of you. Yeah. Anyways.